Hello and welcome to VR Club. My name is Frank, and in today's lesson we will explore how to use the Meta All-in-One SDK to grab objects using the simulator. We'll also expand on the different building blocks and their uses, and we'll learn how to utilize the samples from the Meta SDK. In this lesson, you'll need the following resources: a computer with Unity and the Meta All-in-One SDK asset. So let's start where we left off last time, and I'm going to reopen up the XR Starter project. Now you're probably wondering, how do I grab objects in VR? Well, it's very simple. All we have to do is go back to our tools, go to our building blocks, and now we will add a grab interaction. And now we see that there is a cube within the scene. It's a little bit small, so we're just going to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger by changing the scale. 1, 1, and 1. And to differentiate it from the previous cube that we had in there, I'm just going to create a material just to change its color. So I'm just going to call this blue. Why not? I'll change the color to blue, and then I'll just go ahead and make that onto the cube. Now we're going to go ahead and save it, and then I'm going to activate the XR simulator, and we're going to press play. Alright, cool. So I'm just going to reopen the mouse bindings and keyboard bindings just to see how to control everything. So let's just move around. We see that this is the blue cube that we had that is grabbable. I'm going to move back a little bit, and we see that you can also do R and F to move up and also down. So in order to grab everything, I'm just going to go ahead and unselect the headset and the left controller, and I'm just going to move the left controller here. Now when we grab, we want to use this input on the controller here, and this input is called the grip button, and this is with a U. So I'm going to move this into the cube and see that it's touching now. I'm going to press U, and now I see that I am able to move and grab this cube here. I can move my controller up and down, and really it's just that simple. As a challenge, try creating a scene where you can move and stack objects together, maybe like a Jenga game. Cool. So now that we know how to grab objects, I'll just go ahead and explain some of the other building blocks. So if I do have a VR headset with augmented reality available, this is what the pass-through means. I can add it into the scene, and I'll be able to see my actual world. If I add hand tracking into the scene, if I have the headset and I have hand tracking enabled, it will actually track my hands. And we have different types of grabs, such as experimental, of distance grab, and we also have the grab interaction. And then we can also have avatars and voice chats, and teleporting or touch hand grab, and a whole variety of different interactions. Feel free to explore all of these and see how they work within the simulator. Some may work, while others may not. Alright, so now we're going to go into exploring some of the sample scenes that Meta has already made. These sample scenes are actually not in our project, and we will need to add them into our project. So what we can do is we can go into Windows, Package Manager, and you see that there are several of these packages that we've already added. Some come from the Meta All-in-One SDK, while others come from other things. Just an example, we're going to go into the Meta XR Interaction SDK. And you see that there are samples that we can actually import into our level. For further documentation, I encourage you to read through this overview, and it will give you further instructions if you have any questions. For example, the documentation is all here if you want to ask for support. And each one of these will have the various links that you can copy and paste into your browser to search up for more information. So we'll just go into the samples now, and we see that there are example scenes, feature scenes, and tools. What I'll do is I'll import the example scenes here. And we see that there is a brand new folder that just appeared called Samples Meta Interaction XR SDK with the example scenes below. So here, let's just go over and open Locomotion. And this will be an example scene that we can navigate. So I'm going to go ahead and press play. And now we're in a locomotion scene. So we can move up, down by pressing R and F. And this is really cool. We can try out the teleporting within the simulator. And how we can actually do that is through the thumbsticks. So I'm just going to choose one controller here, the left one, and I can press the thumbstick. And you see, I've been able to teleport. I can move around. I'll reselect these to move around. And let's say I want to teleport over here. What I can do is I can select my controller. I can move my thumbstick. And you see that my thumbstick is pointing forwards. I can adjust by right-clicking and moving where I want to teleport to. And you see that some areas I cannot, where it turns red, while others are white where I can. So let's just go ahead and try and teleport all the way over there. Oh, and look at that. We are teleported within this gazebo that was previously here. Now let's go ahead and try it with the right controller. Does it do the same thing? Oh, it looks like it does. And I can move the angle of it. And now that I've teleported over here, let's just look around. And so I encourage you to just go through and see how these different types of interactions work. Within each of these sample scenes, if I press these different buttons here, some of them will do something and some of them will not. Go ahead and explore that. Now, let's go ahead and try the hand grabbing use case. So here's an example, and we'll go ahead and press play. Let's go through. We have our controllers, and let's try and just grab. I just tried pressing this. You see that within this scene, you need to have the hands activated. And because we do not have hand detection within the simulator, it doesn't work so well. Actually, it doesn't work at all. We try to do what we did previous, and you see that it's no longer working. So, this just demonstrates that some of them will work, while some of them will not, based off the constraints of what we have in the simulator. Now, each of these, there are so many more samples. I encourage you to explore and try and see how these different types of things work. Cool. So we went over how to grab objects within our simulation, and we also went over some of the samples. In our next lesson, we'll be going over some real VR setup. Thank you for following along.